Hello, welcome back to another video. This is day 19 of 30 days of JavaScript. You know the drill. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and consider joining the channel. Let's see. Now, execute asynchronous functions in parallel. Okay, let's see. I think it's going to be a bit hard, but let's see. Given an array of asynchronous functions, okay, return a new promise, okay. Each function in the array accepts no arguments and returns a promise. Okay, each of these functions doesn't accept any argument, but when we execute it, it returns a promise. So that means we have, let's say, 10 different asynchronous functions. When we execute all of them, they in return 10 different promises, but we have to return only one promise at the end. Okay, all the promises should be executed in parallel. Okay, not one after the other. If it would have been one after the another, we would have executed the first one, got it into then resolve function of it. Where as soon as we would have gotten the result, we would have executed the second, resolve, third, resolve, nested one. Okay, promise resolves. When all the promises returned from functions are resolved successfully in parallel, the resolved value of the promise should be an array. Okay, so the resolved value promise in turn will have resolve or reject, right? So the resolved value of that promise should be array of all the resolved values from various promises, and this should resolve all the asynchronous functions and completely exit. Okay, if it when when will we call it promise rejects? When any of the promises returned from functions are rejected, promise should also be rejected. Okay, whatever is whenever there is first rejection, we have to return that. Got it? Please solve it without using the promise.all. Okay, we don't have to use promise.all. Okay, we won't do that. Okay, that means it is sort of an implementation of promise all only. Yes, not sort of. Actually, that's it. So let's do this. Now, again, I'll try to explain you with this with a diagram for this one. But we know the drill. What are we returning? We are returning a promise. So return new promise. It will have two parameters, resolve, reject. Okay, and then we'll see what we have to do. So let me try to explain this because I think in this understanding will be important, otherwise it can become a bit more confusing. This is our promise all, okay? Now in this, I'm using Excel after a very long time, so yeah. In this, we are passing an input and getting an output, okay? Now input is, what is the input? Array of async functions, okay? It's an array of async functions. This is the input. What do we need as an output? We need output as a promise. So let's do output should be a promise. So we have created that promise. This promise is there already. Now we will have to fill it up. Now what do we have to do? We have to execute all these functions. Okay. So technically what will happen in this is first execute all functions in parallel. Let me read this again actually. When all the promises returned in the function resolve successfully, the resolved value of the promise should be an array of all the resolved values in the same order as, okay, ordering is important. So execute all the functions in parallel. Whatever response we get, when we execute a function, it will return a promise from function. Whenever that promise gets resolved, save it to array. Okay. If all good, everything is successful, return the resolved array. And if rejection, return that rejection. Great. So let's think of it from rejection point of view and do that first. So we have to execute all the functions. So what we will have to do is we will have to iterate over these functions. So functions dot for each. I'm using for each. I know this is not the performance code, but I'll continue on that right now. For each function, I cannot write function. Generally, what we do is we write whatever is multiple, we write the singular of it, but function is a keyword, so I cannot use that. So I'll use fn. Sorry. Now we have to execute that function. So to execute that function, we can use fn this. And they did mention that it doesn't take any arguments. It doesn't accept any arguments, but it returns a promise. So if let function promise equals to this, once we executed it. Now let's go to function promise dot then response. Okay, so if it got executed successfully, it will give us a response, and that response, let me check one thing. Promise in JavaScript. I'm just checking one thing before I explain you further details. Got it. Okay, so yeah, we will get the response here. We'll see what we have to do here. Handle the response. We have to save it to array actually. Okay, and otherwise there can be a catch to handle the errors. So in this case, let me handle it like this. Return. Even if there is one single error, we have to return or end everything, right? So in that case, I can directly use reject. Reject. But what should I pass in that reject? I should pass whatever we got from this. We got the error. So we'll pass that error. In reject, we'll pass the error. Okay, let me run this and see if that part is covered. Okay. So we got the error actually. I'm not fully sure if it is correct or not, but we got the error. Now what do I have to do? I have to save it to array. So let's save it to array. That resolve array equals to an empty array. Okay. I'll just save for a minute. I have someone at the door. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just create an array of resolve arrays because they have mentioned that I have to return that in resolve. Okay. In this resolve, I have to return that. So let me do that. Resolve array. Okay, now I realized one thing. Let me finish the code and then I'll explain you what the problem is with this code. Dot push. Whatever is the response, we'll keep on pushing that. Okay, and once everything finishes, I'll return. We executed the reject here. I'll have to execute the resolve also. So once all the functions are executed, we will execute the resolve also. And in that, I'll pass, what was it? Resolve array. Okay. But this is incorrect. Technically, let's try to understand this. What I did, I created an array, ran over all the functions that we had. All those functions, once they get executed, they return a promise. On that promise, I'll get a success or a failure. So if it is a failure, as soon as we get the failure, we want to end everything and return with the rejection error. Okay, why am I using this reject? Because in this promise, we have this reject and we have to pass that information back to whatever function we'll call this promiseAll. Okay, so whatever we'll call this promiseAll, if there is any rejection, we'll get that rejection directly. Okay, now if let's say everything is successful, so if everything is successful, we have to return an array of all the successful responses. So this is a successful response. I'm creating an array of that and sending it back. The problem with this approach is I thought of implementing this, but all the functions are async. If they are async functions, that means I cannot guarantee which function promise will get executed, finished first. It can be first, it can be second, it can be third, it can be anything, right? So in that case, this push can have the first function response at first position, fifth function response at the second position, eighth function response at the third position, just because some of these promises might be fast and some might be slow. Okay, think of it like this. I have to deliver 10 parcels to 10 of my friends in alphabetical order. Okay, so first friend is friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, friend 10. All of them are in ordered number and I have to give them 10 different gifts. Okay, now I'm the manager here. I have to buy all those 10 different gifts for my friends. So what I did was I asked 10 of my helpers or other workers in my team that, hey, look, I want to give these things to my friends. First worker, go and get me a gift for first friend. Second worker, go and get me a gift for second friend. So for each worker I gave a task to them that get me gift for friend I. Okay. So if the worker fifth has gone, they will bring me fifth gift for fifth friend. Okay. So I got that information. Now when as soon as I get that, I have to start sending it back. Now, what if my fifth worker comes first, and if I send that gift directly with this algorithm, I'm sending it to the first friend, okay, not the fifth friend. So I have to make sure that I position it correctly also. How can I make sure that? If I create the array directly, actually, array, new array, actually. I hope you have understood this. The basic point is that in this, we cannot control the order of array. Whichever worker comes first, that will get pushed to the list of all the gifts that I have to send to my friends. Okay. So I tried to explain it to you, but I'm not fully sure how much clear it is. Let me know in comments. So if I create 10 different places in my home or my office that, okay, first friend, I'll inform my first friend, first worker that as soon as you get the gift, return here, place it here. As soon as you get the gift, second one, as soon as you get the gift, place it here. Once all of them have placed, let me know, or whoever is the 10th one, if they are able to see all the 10 gifts, let me know that this task has been finished, and I will come back, see all this, and now dispatch it to my friends. Okay. I hope I have understood this. I have explained this to you correctly. So I'll have to mention the length functions dot length, and in this I'll have to mention index also. So for each index, I'll write response. And one problem is still there. Let me run it, but the one problem is this is good. Now each and every one is coming in same order. Like for fifth function, I'm placing their response or whatever the result is to fifth position in array. Exactly that. Independent of whether it was first or second. But the problem is I cannot resolve here because these will get executed quickly, but the promises might take some time. So I have to resolve it when all inside this only. But when all the functions have executed themselves. So let count equals to 0, count plus plus, if length of count equals to what was it? Functions dot length. As I mentioned, the last worker, whoever will come, if they are able to see all the boxes or all the gifts, they will inform me, hey, the task has been done. So that information part is similar to resolve array. I hope this will work. I think this is perfect. Yes, it is. I'll quickly explain it to you again. I have 10 friends. I want to gift all of them some gift. Okay, I have already decided what that gift will be, and all of them are unique. Okay, consider them equivalent to our 10 different functions. Okay, or the 10 different promises that we are creating here. I have informed each one of my worker 1, worker 2, all the way worker 10, that worker 1 will bring me gift for friend 1, worker 2 will bring me gift for friend 2, worker 3 will bring me gift for friend 3. If any one of them comes to me first and says, we were unable to find the gift that you mentioned, I will cancel the entire plan and say, okay, I'm not giving gift to any of my friends this year. This is this case. Okay. Now all of them were successful, but each worker someone can take 5 hours, someone can take 1 hour, someone can do the task in 10 minutes. So how will I know that I have to now dispatch all the gifts? Because I will dispatch them only, or I will parcel them to my friends only once I get all the gifts. I won't see them in between. So for that, and I have to maintain the order also, because worker 1 will bring gift for worker friend 1 only. Okay. So what I have said to them is, hey, here is my table. There are 10 different boxes on this. If your number is 5th, come and place that gift on the 5th position. Okay. this is what we are doing here in array. That table is the array with each item as the index, okay, with an index. And whenever the fifth worker comes in, they will place it on the fifth box. That means fifth worker, this is the fifth box, and this is the gift. Response is the gift here. Okay. But how will I know whether all of them have finished their task? Okay, I cannot check it, let's say, after 15 minutes and realize, okay, it was not done yet. Or let's say 24 hours after and realize, okay, I waited for too long and they finished it in within 1 hour. I cannot do that, right? So what I'm saying to these guys is, whoever comes last, whoever comes in, check if all of these boxes are, all of these items or table is completely filled. If the table is completely filled, then inform me. Okay. So that table is completely filled. How will they see if they are able to count 10 different boxes on it, including their own? Okay. So if the count is 10, which is the original friend count or the worker count or the function count, this will match, and at that point that worker will inform me, hey, you can dispatch it to your friends, and I'll dispatch it using this. I hope you understood this. If you like the analogy, do let me know, because it was on the go and I feel happy that I did this. So thank you. Bye bye.